Today, we are opening the hood on one of the most significant and I'd say pretty surprising corporate transformations of the modern era. We're talking about John Deere. For well over a century, the company was known globally for one thing, selling iron. Those big, powerful, dependable green tractors and mechanical equipment.
Right. They were the absolute definition of a traditional industrial manufacturer.
They were. Their business was selling heavy machinery and, just managing the ups and downs of farming capital expenditure.
Exactly. But today, if you look at their investor materials, their annual reports, they explicitly label themselves a technology company. The focus is all on software and data.
And that pivot is exactly what we're deep diving into for you. We're unpacking John Deere's strategic shift to a solution as a service, a SaaS business model.
Which basically means moving beyond the one-time sale of a machine.
Yeah, it means they're selling continuous outcomes like guaranteed efficiency, maximizing crop yields, and maybe most importantly, minimizing equipment downtime. All of it delivered as a recurring service subscription.
And this is a huge fundamental change. It's being driven by a very clear, very tangible target. John Deere has publicly set an ambition to grow enterprise recurring revenue to 10% by 2030.
10%. Now, that might sound like a small slice to some, but when you look at the context, it's monumental.
It really is. Historically, John Deere's recurring revenue, and this is excluding your financial services arm, was in the very low single digits, a couple percent maybe.
So achieving 10% recurring revenue by 2030 means generating billions of dollars every single year from software, from data services, and subscriptions.
Right.
This target is forcing the entire organization to think and act like a software company first.
And that strategic commitment, it didn't happen overnight. It required decades of foundational work. The seeds for this were really planted back in the late 1990s, early 2000s, with those first investments in what they called precision agriculture.
Right? Tools like GPS-guided auto steering. AutoTrack, I think it was called.
AutoTrack, yeah. That was the first moment the line really blurred between pure mechanics and an integrated technology solution.
They realized the value wasn't just in the engine anymore, but in how intelligently that engine was deployed in the field. This then evolved into their first comprehensive, solution-oriented offering. That was the FarmSite initiative, right? Early 2010s.
Yep, FarmSite. That was a key signal. It bundled the physical equipment with software packages and customized services that were provided by the dealer network.
That was the moment they formally announced their intent to sell solutions, not just products. They were starting to connect the dots for the farmer.
The ultimate organizational leap, though, that happened around 2020, that's when they introduced the Smart Industrial Operating Model.
And this wasn't just a brochure update or a new slogan. It was a full corporate and operational reorganization designed from the ground up to deliver continuous services.
They essentially restructured the entire company around solution delivery. They broke down all the traditional silos and started focusing on specific production systems, like a dedicated vertical for large-scale corn and soy farming, for example.
And lifecycle solutions.
And lifecycle solutions, exactly. That part ensures the company supports the customer throughout the full use phase of the machine. It's about guaranteeing performance from day one right until retirement.
A pivot this large obviously requires massive resources. And to get the advanced software capabilities needed for this SaaS model, John Deere stopped relying only on their internal mechanical engineering heritage.
Right. They had to look outside. They accelerated their R&D spending. It jumped 20% in a single year, hitting, almost $2 billion in 2022.
And that money wasn't just for better metal. It was focused on AI, sensor technology, software.
And they needed to move fast, so they made these huge strategic acquisitions to just buy the tech stack they needed. The prime examples are Blue River Technology.
That was for the AI.
That was for the AI. It gave them instant high-level computer vision capabilities. And then Bear Flag Robotics, which was critical for accelerating their autonomy efforts. This was a massive, expensive bet, treating software and data IP as more valuable than the next engine upgrade.
Okay, so let's unpack the subscription portfolio. If they're successfully making this bet, what exactly are they delivering to the farmer on a continuous basis? We can probably break their offering down into a few distinct categories.
Yeah, let's do that. We can start with the foundation, uptime as a service. This is all built on JD Link.
And JD Link is the telematics backbone.
It's the telematics, yeah. It provides real-time data on the machine's location, its performance, its operational health, everything.
And here's where the business strategy gets really clever. This is where you see the platform play emerge.
Yeah.
In 2021, John Deere made the strategic decision to just eliminate subscription fees for GD-Link connectivity.
It made it free.
They made the basic connection free. They just opened the data pipeline.
It's a textbook platform move. I mean, by removing that financial hurdle, they knew they would maximize adoption. It put them on a path toward their goal of connecting 1.5 million machines by 2026.
It's the classic give away the razor to sell blades model.
Exactly. If the core connection is free, they capture more data from more acres, and that data then becomes the foundation for selling all the premium, high-margin services.
And the most immediate value that comes from that free data pipe is something called connected support.
Right. This allows that data stream to feed directly into predictive maintenance, often generating what they call expert alerts.
So put yourself in the farmer's shoes. What does that mean?
It means if a critical bearing starts showing early signs of overheating during your tiny 48-hour planting window, an expert alert notifies the dealer and you, the farmer, instantly.
So before it even breaks?
Before it breaks. The dealer can remotely diagnose how bad it is and send a technician out with the exact part needed before that bearing fails. A failure that might have cost you $50,000 in engine repair and 2 days of irreplaceable downtime.
So they aren't selling a repair service. They're selling guaranteed uptime. They're selling operational efficiency as a service.
That's the product. Uptime.
Okay, moving up the value chain. Once you have the connection, you need a control center. And that brings us to the second type of solution, the data and farm management platform.
Which is centered on the John Deere Operations Center.
The Ops Center.
Yep. This is the cloud-based hub where every piece of data converges. Machine performance, field maps, soil samples, yield data, agronomic prescriptions. It functions as the farmer's digital twin of their entire operation.
And just like with JD-Link, they kept the basic operations center free to access.
Right. And that's intentional. By making the central planning and visualization tool free, they've built up this massive user base. It now covers over 330 million engaged acres globally.
That scale is it's mind-boggling.
It's critical. It builds what analysts call a proprietary data moat and creates these powerful network effects. The more data that flows in, the more valuable the platform becomes for everyone. Deere then monetizes the higher-level services, the advanced applications, built on top of that free platform.
So they sell the analytics that turn all that raw data into actual insights that can boost farm profits.
Exactly.
That all sounds great in theory, but, I have to ask, if I'm a farmer who just had a bad harvest, is subscribing to more software really the first thing I want to do? How does Deere align the cost of the subscription with the very real immediate value I'm getting?
That's where the true business model innovation comes in. And it leads us to the third solution type, AI and consumption-based pricing. The perfect example here is their See and Spray technology.
Tell us a bit more about the tech itself. This is the AI from that Blue River acquisition we mentioned, isn't it?
It is, yeah. See and Spray uses sophisticated computer vision and machine learning to scan the field in real time at incredible speeds. It can actually distinguish individual weeds from crops.
So instead of just blanket spraying the whole field.
Right. It enables this targeted, almost surgical spray application only where the weed is actually present.
And the outcome of that is, well, it must be huge.
It's remarkable. Field studies show it reduces herbicide volumes by about 60 to 70% on average. That is a massive, tangible reduction in a farmer's input costs.
And because that value is so immediate and so easy to measure, the business model can align perfectly with it.
Exactly. John Deere offers See and Spray through use-based licenses, so like a per-acre fee for the advanced features, what they call See and Spray Premium.
Okay, so give me an example.
A farmer could save roughly, say, $30 per acre in chemical costs by using less herbicide. If the service fee is, let's say, $15 an acre, the farmer immediately pockets $15, and Deere gets continuous recurring revenue.
That is the definition of a win-win.
Yeah.
The farmer only pays when they save money, and it aligns the cost directly with the value they get.
Absolutely. And finally, we see this trend being applied to features that have been around for a while. That's the fourth solution type. Flexible features and autonomy.
Things like auto-track, the GPS steering.
Exactly. Auto-track or section control are now being offered as renewable software licenses, like a 1-year subscription, instead of these large, one-time, permanent purchases tied to the machine's lifespan.
That seems really important for getting more people on board, doesn't it?
It is. It provides a much lower entry cost for farmers, especially those who own older but still capable equipment. Instead of a huge capital outlay for a permanent unlock, they can subscribe for a year when they need the feature most and see an immediate ROI.
And looking ahead, the autonomous tractor.
The fully autonomous 8R tractor, yeah. It's widely expected to be sold as a subscription service, monetizing the autonomy software through ongoing usage fees. It's autonomy as a service.
Which fundamentally shifts farming from being a high capex industry to, what, a high opex outcome-based industry?
That's the future they're building.
And if we look at the measurable outcomes, it's pretty clear why farmers are buying into this opex model.
Yeah.
The return on investment is just huge.
It is. Precision practices overall are estimated to reduce input costs by up to 30% and can improve fuel efficiency by about 10% just by eliminating overlaps with AutoTrack.
But the ultimate prize is yield.
The ultimate benefit is yield, yes. Full adoption of precision agriculture is associated with yield increases that range from 10 to 20%. For a typical 1,000-acre operation, a 15% increase in yield. Well, that translates directly into hundreds of thousands of dollars in annual revenue. It far outweighs the cost of the software subscription.
And what's fascinating to me here is that those efficiency gains translate directly into a massive sustainability impact. This isn't just about saving money.
No, it's about optimizing resource use. Precision tech has led to the national avoidance of 54 million pounds of herbicide and the use of 8% less fertilizer in some applications.
And that helps John Deere achieve its corporate goal of reducing the environmental impact of crop protection by 20% by 2030. So they're selling better financial outcomes and better environmental outcomes at the same time through software.
This is a very powerful narrative.
And beyond the dollars and cents, I mean, the qualitative benefits must be huge for the people who actually run the farm.
Oh, absolutely. The Operations Center simplifies management decisions. It helps with regulatory compliance. And the predictive maintenance from connected support provides real peace of mind. Preventing a breakdown during harvest isn't just a financial win. It's a huge reduction in stress and risk.
That's invaluable during a crucial planting or harvesting window. Okay, so let's unpack the industry implications of this aggressive pivot. Deere has established a clear lead here, which is forcing competitors to respond.
They certainly have. Competitors like CNH Industrial, that's the parent company of Case IH in New Holland, they've been forced to invest heavily. CNH acquired Raven Industries to boost their precision capabilities.
But they're not going all in on subscriptions, are they?
No, the sources suggest that CNH has signaled a more cautious approach. They seem to prefer upfront sales, which is a stark contrast to Deere's aggressive focus on building that recurring SaaS revenue.
And this difference really defines Deere's competitive advantage right now. They hold a clear technology lead, especially in specialized areas like that in-house AI for targeted spraying from Blue River.
And their massive proprietary data set from those 330 million engaged acres creates what's called an AI flywheel.
Explain that. What's the AI flywheel?
Well, that flywheel is a huge barrier to entry for anyone else. Every connected machine generates more data, which feeds the AI algorithms, which makes them smarter at optimizing crops and predicting failures. This improved performance then attracts more customers to the services,
Which, in turn, generates more data.
it's a self-reinforcing advantage. It scales exponentially, makes it incredibly difficult for a competitor or a startup to catch up.
But this highly integrated software-driven model where Deere controls the diagnostic codes, the software updates, this has led directly to friction. We have to talk about the right to repair controversy.
That is the core challenge they absolutely have to solve. The very same integration and control that gives Deere its strategic SaaS advantage. That's what raises legitimate customer concerns about ownership and control.
Farmers argue they can't fix a simple sensor or diagnose an engine code without buying an expensive, authorized service from a licensed dealer, especially if they aren't paying for the latest subscription tier.
Precisely. If your uptime is guaranteed by Deere's software, that means Deere has to control that software. But when a farmer buys a $500,000 piece of equipment, they feel, quite reasonably, that they should have the right to repair it themselves.
Or have an independent mechanic do it.
Or have an independent do it. So Deere has to find this very challenging balance between retaining the intellectual property that fuels their high-margin SaaS business and meeting the customer demand for fair use and repairability of their own assets.
So wrapping this all up, what does this mean for the future? John Deere is evolving from a traditional cyclical equipment manufacturer into an integrated, high-margin, high-tech farm management partner.
Right. And this infusion of predictable recurring revenue is designed to smooth out the traditionally boom and bust cycle of selling physical equipment.
And the famous slogan, "Nothing runs like a Deere," it now refers less to the high-quality iron.
And more to the connected, intelligent system running invisibly on data and algorithms. The fundamental competition in agriculture has shifted entirely.
It really has. The competition isn't about whose engine has more horsepower anymore, is it? It's competing on whose algorithms grow better crops and whose services prevent more operational downtime.
That is the new definition of value in farming. The machine is now just the conduit for the software service.
And that raises an important final question for you, the listener. If this transition to outcome-based SaaS models is working in agriculture, consider what other traditional industrial sectors, mining, long-haul logistics, or large-scale construction, might soon make this exact same pivot.
Where the value shifts from the physical asset to the recurring intelligence that's running it.
We'll leave you to explore that thought. That's all the time we have for this deep dive.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of our Digital Servitization Exchange podcast. We hope the insights sparked new ideas, challenged assumptions, and brought clarity to the evolving world of service and digital-driven business models. This podcast is grounded in extensive research across various fields, drawing on years of academic work, case studies, and cutting-edge publications. It also shaped by hands-on experience of our collaboration partners, whose real-world challenges and successes help us to translate theory into practice. If you enjoyed the episode, consider following the podcast and sharing it with colleagues who are navigating the civilization journey. Your support helps us continuing bridging high-quality research-based and practice-proven perspectives straight to your ears. Thank you for tuning in and see you in the next episode.